Hi guys, I am fiddling with the camera to try and figure out how to get both of us in the shot. My name is Yolanda and this is Elena Klein, and we are coming to you today from our Harper Therapy offices in Lutz, Florida. We are in our group room hanging out on this rainy Tuesday. And this is take two because I goofed up. But we wanted to talk with you today about some tips for helping your teen
with, drumroll, anxiety. So yeah, it's a tough one. So I brought up the topic of anxiety because it is something that a lot of people deal with and don't always know how to describe it or put words around it.
Let's just say this. If you're human, you're going to have an experience with anxiety at some point in your life, whether it's a temporary and circumstantial experience, or whether it's something that you kind of address and face ongoing.
Right.
So we're here to help you today.
Right. And so what does anxiety look like? Within teens, it pretty much looks the same whether you're a teen or an adult, but it can kind of manifest itself a little differently, kind of the experience or how to describe it. So first of all, there are those racing thoughts. We have, we can't stop thinking about something, like something keeps us up at night. Usually it comes like we're worrying about something that might happen in the future. We're worried about maybe something that happened in the past, like how people perceived us, what others think about us. And especially with teenagers, they're constantly navigating this new territory of how do I, fit in with my friends and the people around me? How do I still kind of be a part of my family? It's like they're really trying out all these new things and trying to gain some autonomy. So, that can cause a lot of stress and anxiety within a teen.
Yeah, a teen's, in that state of, in that age range, then they're really looking to belong to their peer group. And so anything that is a threat of not belonging can be fodder for those racing thoughts. And, brain's job is to think. And sometimes our brain kind of gets stuck in overdrive mode of, well, I've got to think through every little scenario, this detail of the scenario.
Right. It's doing too good of a job at what it does. The feelings that come up, with anxiety are just, it might be feelings of dread, fear, panic, just impending doom, and we talked a little bit in our take one about the physical manifestation of anxiety. So I was saying then that, for me, anxiety comes in my throat. So it almost feels like someone's, suffocating me.
For me, it's my chest and my stomach, that icky, that feeling in your stomach where you're like a combination of like butterflies and boulders rolling around.
Right.
And it's not pleasant.
It's interesting that it's like these 3 points, and also it can be in your head too, where you just feel like intense pressure, and I think you were saying that it can feel sometimes like buzzing in your head or foggy. It can be a little foggy sometimes, and then
an inability to think clearly, right? So we've got this combination of racing thoughts, but inability to really think clearly.
Right. So that can all manifest itself, especially with your teens. Like, how do you notice this in a teenager? It can manifest itself in behavior. So it can be anything like picking at skin or acne. It can be, over obsessing about assignments or, just that perfectionistic kind of behavior.
And a lot of irritability, especially in our teens. A lot of the ways that comes out is very irritable behavior.
Right. And it can be anything like even like spontaneous crying or, just like a kind of burst of emotions at one time. So now that you know what anxiety looks like, how do we deal with it? We have a few techniques. The first one being just that idea or letting your teen know that they're not alone. So anxiety can be a very, very isolating experience. And, especially for teenagers, it's not, kids, it's not something you want to talk about with your friends, like saying, hey, I have a lot of anxiety. Friends might not understand. So just really helping your teen know that they're not alone. Or if you're experiencing anxiety, if you're experiencing it yourself, just knowing that this is something that many, many people go through.
if you're human, you're going to experience anxiety at some point in your life. And so part of what we're passionate about here at Harper Therapy is having these conversations that you're not alone. This is part of being human. This is part of, what we all struggle with, and you're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's part of why therapy is so helpful sometimes, because it's really like this validation that what you're going through is not unique, and that so many people do go through it. So,
and there's help.
Right. And having a safe space to be able to talk about those things too.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times people will come in as adults and say that they, looking back, have had these experiences throughout their life, but were never able to put words on it. So a big component, a part of what we want to help you do is to help your team put words around their experience so that they have a name for what they're experiencing.
Right. And you just, and with the teens that I've worked with, it's just like, you must see them like have a sigh of relief, that they just have like a safe space to come and talk to. Not that they can't talk to their parents, but it's like, it's different. It's just not an objective viewpoint. It's not an objective person. And, they really can come in and just like, kind of like take a breath, which leads me into the next tip for dealing with anxiety is just to breathe. And that is something that I think most of us forget in our daily lives.
So here's the funny thing about breathing. It's something that we do automatically, but we don't do it very well. Especially when we're feeling anxious, we tend to focus our breath more. Our breath tends to focus more in our chest, which actually increases the feeling of anxiety because it's a shorter, shallower breath.
Right. So what is the alternative is taking deeper breaths. So Yolanda mentioned in our last discussion just about taking breaths not into your chest, but into your diaphragm. So it's like, I love the way she described it. It's like a balloon filling up in your stomach, and your belly breaths, breathing deeply in, having a balloon fill up and then breathing out. Another technique that I brought up is counting your breaths. So for people who are having racing thoughts, you're having a hard time like just getting out of your head, you can count in 4 breaths, breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hold it for 4 breaths. You can breathe out for 4 breaths and hold it for another 4 breaths. That's kind of like the box breathing. But you can even just take in like count to 5, breathe in, let it out for 5 or 6. So just counting your breath can be helpful.
So it is so helpful that it's actually taught to, our military and Navy SEALs, and when they're learning how to operate and shoot and hone their skills, they're taught that tactical breathing. They call it tactical breathing. Other people call it box breathing. If that works for you, then great. It happens to not feel great for me because that holding of my breath kind of sends me into more of a panic state. So I will do the breathing in and out, and I'll count 4 breathing in and maybe a longer exhale, maybe to 6. So just play around with it to see what works best for you.
Whatever's going to calm you, bring you back to the moment. Another tip is, obviously this is something that a lot of people know about already, but exercise, especially with anxiety, doing some type of vigorous exercise, whether it's yoga, swimming, running, it really helps release our endorphins. And, Yolanda was talking about in our take 1 about how the fact that emotions are energy, and being able to exercise, it helps get that energy out.
It's a good release of energy, and that is a release of endorphins too. So regular exercise practice, whatever you love doing, it's going to increase your heart rate.
Right. I like to be one of those nerds who rollerblades. I live in South Tampa, so I like to rollerblade on Bayshore. So watch out if you're on Bayshore.
And I am a yoga girl, and especially a hot yoga practice. So a lot of people think of yoga as like this Zen, like, being in cross-leg position. That is not what my hot yoga practice is. It is definitely an intense workout.
Right. And then, another thing to help with anxiety is to practice mindfulness. So this is really just engaging your senses. You can look in the room. You can see, what do I see around me? What do I hear? What do I smell? What do I feel? So what do I feel, the seat, on my back? Do I feel my feet on the floor? It's really a way to really just ground and bring yourself into the present moment. So last but not least, we have being gentle with yourself. Being gentle with yourself, being gentle with your teen, really just allowing that person to have their experience. And that really is something that we talk a lot about here with that practice of self-compassion.
Yeah. So a lot of us have been taught to, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, just suck it up, move on. And so the practice of self-compassion is just recognizing that this is a moment of struggle. And especially with anxiety, it's an intense moment and moments of struggle. And there are, some good things to come on the other side of it. But in this moment, a practice of being gentle with yourself.
Right. So those are some tips for dealing with anxiety for your teen, for yourself. We would love to see you here. I love working with teenagers who are dealing with anxiety, and I would love to help in any way I can create that space.
Yeah, give our office a call and schedule a free consultation so that we can find out what's going on with you and your family and how we can support you, and how we might be a good fit for you. So thank you so much for joining us today, and hope that you stay dry on this icky day, and we will look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.